So today we're going to be making lamb meatballs with a tomato and chilli sauce, which you would serve with pasta or rice or potato wedges. So we've got our 800 grams of lamb mince, and we're going to start by making the meatballs by sautéing off one onion with some garlic, which we then are going to add to the mince with rosemary, some breadcrumbs, some milk and some seasoning, and then we're going to shape those into lovely little meatballs. And we're going to take 2 cloves of garlic, and just smash those with the back of the knife. Just take the peel off. Smash that with the back of the knife. Just crushing the garlic releases the flavour. And then we're just going to roughly chop those. Gently sauté our onion and garlic. And while that's just coming up, we're going to strip and chop a couple of stems of rosemary. Again, all about adding complementary flavours to the lamb mince. Now just finely as you can. Give our onions a quick stir and our garlic. Just take the heat down slightly. We don't want too much colour to the onion. We just want them to become soft and opaque. And just let those just gently fry. Just reduce the heat a little bit. It'll take about 3 to 4 minutes. We're going to add the rosemary, fresh rosemary, to the lamb. And we're going to add approximately 100 grams of breadcrumbs, so about sort of 3 handfuls. Now lamb, by its very nature, tends to be a slightly fatty meat, so we add the breadcrumbs to just help absorb a little bit of that fat. So then finally in with the sautéed onion and garlic, straight in the pan. So we're now going to mix the lamb mince with the breadcrumbs and the onions and the rosemary, and we're just going to add a couple of drops of milk just to give the mixture a little bit of moisture, just to help with the binding. So now we're going to shape our meatballs, and we're going to literally take about a sort of large golf ball size meatball, roll it between our hands, just nice and gently, and onto our tray. And you'd be looking at approximately 3 to 4 meatballs per serving, depending on what size you make them. I think with this size, probably 3 would be a good portion. And then once you've done all your meatballs, we're next going to coat them in some seasoned flour. And our flour has been seasoned with some nutmeg and some cinnamon, complementary flavours towards the lamb. Sprinkle a little over each meatball and then gently roll the meatballs around. Just so you've got a nice coating, and then that flour is going to go lovely and brown when we fry the meatballs off. Okay, so we're going to brown our lamb meatballs off now, just to seal them in, seal the flavour in, and give them a nice bit of colour on the outside. So using the same pan that we fried the onion in, we're just going to add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Bring that up to the heat. Now just remembering you don't need too much in the way of oil because lamb mince is fatty. So there's a good bit of fat in here, which is lovely because it holds them together and it adds that beautiful flavour. starting to become nice and brown there. And all that colour, that's adding flavour. Exactly the same when you brown your meat before you put it into a stew. Now we're not going to cook these through because we're going to cook them in the sauce that we're going to move on to make in a minute. So we just want a nice bit of colour all round. Perfect. Okay, we'll leave those to one side and we'll move on to making our sauce. So we're going to make a tomato and chilli sauce to go with our meatballs. And so we literally take half a red onion and just finely slice. Now chilli, I've got one chilli. Depending on how hot you like your sauce, you either can remove or leave in the pith and the pips. That's where all the sort of real kicking heat is. So I can tell you now, these are quite warm chilies. So we're going to take the onions and the chilli and we're going to fry off a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, and in goes the chilli and the onion. Whilst that's starting to cook, we are going to prepare our tomatoes. So the tomatoes, literally just ordinary salad tomatoes. We're going to halve them and we're going to take out the seeds. Seeds tend to have a slightly bitter flavour. So it's just very simple, in half, just run your knife around the bottom and just discard the seed. And then we're just going to chop those in half again. Now don't get too over your pan because that chilli, as it starts to warm through, releases a vapour. If you have your head right over your pan, you're going to get a big chilli hit in the back of your throat. Now again, we'll add a little salt at this stage. Start to release the flavour of the onions, release their natural sweetness. Okay, they're just nicely softened now, and so we're going to go in with the tomatoes. So all the tomatoes in. Here's a few that I did earlier. And straight away we're going to add a dessert spoon of tomato puree and approximately 200 ml of red wine. Give it a good stir, and then it literally is going to be lid on for 20 minutes and you'll end up with a lovely unctuous sauce. Simmered our sauce for approximately 15 to 20 minutes, just till the tomatoes start to break down and everything starts to reduce. And then we're going to put some sauce into our pan. There we go. And we're going to just nestle in the top of there our lamb meatballs. Just sit them into our oven-proof dish. And then that now goes into the oven for about 40 to 45 minutes. The lamb gets nice and tender, really braises, and the juices all start to sort of amalgamate together and you end up with a delicious, unctuous tomato and chilli sauce. Okay, so our meatballs have been cooking for 40 to 45 minutes, become really thick and juicy, and we're literally going to serve these with some linguine, which I prepared earlier. So pasta on the plate. Good, healthy sized portion. It's extremely healthy, this dish. And then top with a couple, I think we'll be generous and do with 3 meatballs. I'll find the other one. And some of the tomato and chilli sauce. And then we can serve with a sprinkling of freshly grated parmesan and a touch of parsley. Delicious.